Yo, what is up guys, it Ghost here, welcome back to another cast here on Stormgate Central. This time we have TheoRy down in the bottom here as the Infernals going up against Migi playing as the Celestials in the top right. We're playing on Lost Hope, and this map has certainly changed a little bit since last we saw it. This used to be a very green map, but in early access here they've made it very barren and desert-like, so interesting choice. It's really confusing me though, because one of the other maps called Boneyard has this same kind of aesthetic, so now I keep thinking that this map is Boneyard when in fact it is Lost Hope. So this is going to be a best of 5 guys. It's coming from the round of 8 here in the winners bracket from the Tasteless Showdown, which is currently going on. At least it may still be going on if you're watching this video, depending on when you see it. Great tournament though, so if it is still going on, go and check it out over on Tasteless TV. Great players over there. I have to say though, TheoRy, he's a very strong player. He has been playing as the Infernals as far as Stormgate is considered here. He's also dabbled in other games like Dota. He used to play StarCraft 2. He's played CSGO, or sorry, CS 1.6 I believe. But if it's a popular competitive game, you can bet your ass that TheoRy's going to have a go at it. Migi, on the other hand, I believe he's Chinese. I don't really know too much about him. He is from StarCraft 2. I think he played Protoss, but I'm not sure how much he's actually played of Stormgate, so whether he's been invited to this event because this was an offline event over in Korea, whether he's been invited because he was just kind of close, you know, like location-wise, or whether it's because he's actually a top-notch Stormgate player, I don't know. But we're going to see what he's able to do against TheoRy here. So he is going for something pretty standard, not like in the last game where we saw Parding move out across the map and just cheese his way to victory with a proxy rush in all 3 games against the laser. This time we've got a pretty standard collection array coming down in the natural. Here we've got a creation chamber coming down, and then we have the research building, which I can't remember the name of because it's a new one. But that is the research building that will allow you to get the upgrade for the Argents, also the upgrade for the Kree, and that is most likely what he's going to be going for there. So I think we are going to see Argent Kree out of Migi. TheoRy, on the other hand, is going to be going for this expansion himself. He realizes that there isn't any kind of rush play coming. He sees the expansion, he's seen the Arc ship, so he's just going to take an expansion himself, grabbing a ritual chamber, and most likely going for the upgrade for the gaunts there. Is it called the Plague Axe, I believe? That gives them the Infest ability. Infest, of course, is back now. They took it away in the last playtest, so if you guys have seen any of my casted games here on the channel, there we go. The Plague Axes is being indeed researched. We see it now. Yeah, they took that away in the Frigate playtest, so gaunts couldn't infest anymore, and you pretty much had to rely on the new unit, the Hexen, and the use of Miasma, or the Skull of Shedder. But now you can infest once again with gaunts, so we are seeing Infernal players going for that upgrade pretty early on. The scan does come down here, so Migi is going to see this expansion, but that doesn't really tell him too much. He hasn't seen the ritual chamber, but I'm sure he can guess that, you know, that's what TheoRy is going to be going here, just based on the sheer amount of gaunts out on the map. So there we see the Kree rolling out, and he has indeed gotten the upgrade for it. Krees have seen a few changes as well, so they will still explode, but you can't actually move them unless you get the 3rd upgrade, and that requires like the tier 3 building, the Arc Fortress, so that's definitely a bit of a late game upgrade. Not sure it's even worth getting. So Kree, not quite as good I guess as they were, but still very potent, especially against gaunts, because they do that extra damage against light units, and when they come out of that roll up ability, of course, they do so much damage there. They've also got an armor, so they've got now an armor buff. When they're rolling around, they get 50 armor, which is just absolutely massive damage reduction against any army, so they're actually pretty effective as just a scouting unit. So Migi is going to come down south here and start to put on the pressure. He's going to be looking to peek into the 3rd position, I think, and just make sure that TheoRy's not expanding here. Maybe he's going to try and have a go up that ramp. So there is 2 different ramps here up into the natural. So, you know, that Shroud Stone is pretty well positioned. It's going to cover all of his workers here in both directions as well. He's getting another one there at the front. So I think TheoRy's going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Migi is going to throw down another collection array down on his 3rd position. So I haven't really decided personally what race I want to play. I have been trying to experiment with the Celestials, but I also really, really like the Vanguard. But what I have found with the Celestials is that whilst this composition is good in the early game, Argents are very strong, Kree are very strong, it doesn't really hold up for too long in the mid game. Once the Infernal player starts to get Magmadons out, once they start to get a sizable army, the Argents and the Kree just can't really hold a candle to them. So that's why I think we're seeing a lot of players go for these very aggressive pushes in the early game, proxy builds and all this sort of stuff to try and just win the game early on when they have the advantage, because they just don't really scale all too well with a lot of the units that the Infernals and the Vanguard can throw out there. So another creation chamber there. So he is going to be going for more of these same units. Has he gotten the Arc Fortress yet? Or rather the, what is it called? It goes Arc Ship, and then, oh, Arc Station. That's the middle one, and then it goes to Arc Fortress. So Arc Station is the tier 2 upgrade. And he's actually building another Arc Ship here, interestingly enough. So that's interesting. He's going to take hold of this middle observation creep tower. Always a good idea. And you can see, by the way, the middle of this map is just absolutely surrounded by Therium, and it all starts to enrich these days. So, like in a lot of the betas, there was some weird bug where it wouldn't start to grow or enrich unless you had vision of it. You can now see that that is no longer the case, and all of that Therium in the middle of the map is going to be fully enriched, which will actually reduce the worker mining time for each of those patches. There you can see the Kree rolling in, and it does indeed just freeze in place once it loses all of its health until it explodes, so very easy to, you know, micro your units away from that now. So 4 creation chambers coming down here. We don't see any of them power surge, so there is a new ability on the top bar, or a changed ability I should say, for the Celestials called Power Surge. You use it on your buildings, and depending on the type of building, it will give them some sort of a boon. So for production buildings, it increases the unit production speed by 50%. Sometimes we see Celestial players using this. We saw Parting, I should say, use this on a single creation chamber in the last game to great effect. But Migi looks like he wants to keep hold of his power. That health camp is really doing wonders for him, though. He's able to poke in there, take a bit of damage, and then just roll on back to the health camp and heal up. But TheoRy is going to move in and take that from him, as Migi goes for that Luminite camp. A lot of the camps, by the way, guys, once you've killed the creeps now, you can take control of the camp and it will give you a passive income, like passive Luminite or passive Therium, and those have been buffed, so the income that you get there, they are actually quite significant, so those towers are worth fighting over. But TheoRy says no, he's going to come in and take that one back there. We also see a Twilight Spire for TheoRy, and I like this. He's actually knocking down the trees here, which used to be nice, lush green trees, but they're now these decrepit old ones instead. And he's going to come in with a surprise attack actually into the main, which really has very little defense. Actually, okay, never mind, scratch that. He's going to go down into the natural here, trying to get a poke. The Sovereign's Wrath comes down, though, on the Legion Hall. But he's doing a great job of actually blocking the ramp. In fact, if he can get those 2 Magmadons on the ramp there, he might be able to block it entirely. But Migi is going to be able to push in here and defend against this. And he looks like he's going to be in good shape. So the Legion Hall, again, kind of confusing because this used to be the primary production unit for the Celestials, and it used to be called the Bastion. It is now, the thing with the 2 skulls, like the golden skulls on top there, that is now called the Legion Hall, and it actually gives you the top tier units in the game. So you can build Animancers from there, you can build also one of the new tier 3 units, the Archangels. So that's going to be interesting if Migi ends up getting some Archangels out here. They have an ability where they can slam down on the ground, which will really deal with this Infernal army quite well, I think. He does have a couple of Cabals in the army there. So, I'm not sure if he has the tier 3 upgrade for these, or just the second one. It would be nice if you could click on one of those Cabals and we could see what they have available. But I believe I think they've got like a regular cast that slows movement speed. And then they've also got kind of like the Phoenix from StarCraft, where you can raise a unit in the air and keep it there in stasis. Or if it's an air unit, it will bring that unit down to the ground. So he may, yeah, he's perhaps looking to use it on the Magmadons there. I'm not sure if it can be used on all units, though. It says you can't use it against resilient units. Whether the Magmadon is classed as a resilient unit, I'm willing to say yes, but TheoRy is coming in here with a nice little snipe on the collection array. There is actually 2 Sovereign's Wrath down at the moment. I didn't even know you could cast 2 of those at the same time. I guess you get more than 1 charge for Sovereign's Wrath these days. I thought that was just for the scan ability. But Migi's just going to push in, and this is going to be somewhat of a base trade here. I think if TheoRy is going to be able to hold this attack, he's going to be fine. He does have a couple of Shrine Stones down there and 2 Magmadons. The Harbinger's actually coming back now with the Gaunt, so maybe it's not a base trade. Maybe he just sniped off that collection array and decided, okay, I'm going to get everything back home to defend. So maybe that was somewhat of an even trade there. TheoRy is slightly ahead in supply. Oh, and the Ritual Chamber is researching Flame On for the Imp. So this may be the tech upgrade that he needs. He's also getting the Demon Hoof Tremors here for the Magmadons that will allow him to stun enemy targets as they cast their Tremor ability. So that is going to be really, really strong paired with the Flame Imps. If he can stun the entire army and then get some of the Flame Imps on top there to do that massive AoE damage, that's going to be huge. So here comes the Harbinger back in again. They have significantly nerfed, by the way, the health of both the prisms that you see mining away there on the collection array and the collection array itself. So sniping the resources of Celestial players is definitely a little bit easier now. But both of them looking... I wouldn't say even. I mean, TheoRy's starting to pull ahead in supply a little bit more here. And he does have that 4th base down in the bottom. It's kind of hard to just look at the minimap these days and see how many bases each player has because, well, for the Infernals in the Vanguard, it's obvious, but for the Celestials, a lot of the time you just see this faint circle around the Luminite mine. You can't really see any of the red dots, but over, yeah, right there, you can see he does have that collection array, and you can tell just by basically looking at where he has the vision on the map. So I'd say on bases, they may be somewhat similar. So I guess TheoRy's trying to make a little bit of a connecting line here between all of his bases with some Shroud Stones, trying to push the front line forward. That's not going to happen though. Migi is going to come in and shut that down. He wants to keep those bases separated so he can get in there and do some harassment. Oh, nice with the gaunts here on the high ground. By the way, guys, sorry if the sound is a little bit weird here in game. This is taken from a live feed, and for some reason they had like the sound duplicated, so there's like 2 feeds of sound. I'm aware it's not the best quality in terms of visual or audio, but this is the best I can do. So hopefully this will be improved in the future with more events and things like that. So one of the Doombringers, or the Harbingers I should say, does go down here. And there are a couple of Link Nodes there doing some damage as well. Oh, a bunch of Shroud Stones coming down. So TheoRy is going to try this again. Migi is busy back home though, so I think all of these Shroud Stones are actually going to get up no problem. More Iron Volts now coming down for TheoRy, so he is actually looking like he wants to do some kind of a big push. A bunch of Magmadons perhaps, maybe some Flame Imps thrown in there as well, and he just wants to take Migi out. Oh, there are some Imps. Where are those Imps headed to? Are they going for the Therium, or are they going to just... I don't know. Yeah, I think they're going for the Therium here. Oh, he's got to be careful he doesn't get these sniped off, though. Oh, no. Okay, he's going to actually go ahead and build a shrine and a bunch more Shroud Stones and possibly some meat farms there. I'm not exactly sure what those are, but Migi is going to come in here and he wants to shut this down again. He realizes if he lets TheoRy take this position here, he's going to get access to all of this enriched Therium in the middle of the map. That is just going to be an absolute disaster for Migi. So this is really do or die for him right here. He absolutely has to shut down this mining operation. And it's actually going okay for him so far. These Argents are doing work. Of course, the extra damage here to the heavy units like the Magmadons, they are going to be doing a lot against them. But now they've all finished their energy, and you can just tell, like I was talking about earlier in the game, how the Argents start to fall out. There are a couple of Animancers out here on the field, though, and they're doing insane work. But the bulk of the army right now for Migi is just these Argents. And they really just feel like they tickle the enemy once they've finished their energy. So, oh, he's using the top bar ability there. So that Ray of Light, that actually restores energy of friendly units, and it will drain energy of enemy units. So specifically in Celestial versus Celestial, a very powerful ability, but still of great use to Migi here to allow him to restore some of his own energy. And that pesky Harbinger is still hovering around, threatening. He's going to go check that Luminite mine down there, but there is nothing there. So I think as this game goes on, look at the supply difference here. TheoRy's army right now is almost too slow to catch up to Migi's army, but he sees that he has the advantage. Like, oh, this army's not so big. Let me just go and stomp over there. And he has to be careful now. He's on the back foot. He has to retreat big time here. And he really can't afford to turn around and fire at anything. Look at those trees there sort of saving him. And this army from TheoRy here is just getting extremely scary. This army is so much more powerful than Migi's army. And there comes the stomp from the Magmadon's going to be getting in there and just absolutely decimating all of these Argents. Also slowing their movement speed there. Every time they do use that trample, you can see the little swirl there, stunning them. And he's going to be splitting the army here. Half of it going in that ramp, half of it going towards the third position. The only problem with the army... Oh, the Flayed Dragon is now out as well. And Migi sees the dragon. He just says, okay, GG, there's no way I'm winning this one. On to the next map. So TheoRy is going to take game number 1, going up 1-0 in this best of 5. Alright, so this time we are playing on Broken Crown. Again, a much smaller map. So are we going to see Migi do something a little bit more aggressive? You know, he went for the macro game against TheoRy here in game number 1. And that just didn't really work out with for him too well, I feel. So maybe... I don't think so. It looks like he's just going to be expanding here. Just like he did last game. Playing it safe. He's right now waiting for that 350 Luminite for the collection rate, and there it comes. Yeah, man, I don't know. I really feel like he needs to do something different. Like, if he's just going to throw down the Creation Chamber and go for the Argents and the Kree again, I'm not sure that's going to work against TheoRy. Don't get me wrong, it's a potent combination. It's a potent army composition. But I don't think it's good enough to kill TheoRy because he's just played so much of Stormgate at this point. He just knows how to defend against it. The pesky old Hexen. The Hexen's a really nice unit, actually. Like, they didn't used to get any scouting units, the Infernal, so you would go up against Vanguard and they would have the Dog, and then you'd go up against Celestials, and of course they would have the Scan. But now that the Infernals have the Hexen, that actually gives them a nice scouting unit. They can spawn this little skull. There you go, there you see it. The Skull of Shedder, it's called. And it allows you to infect an enemy unit. And also give you some vision of that unit for a good few seconds. So, if you get it on a worker, you sort of have vision of the main base, if you will. So TheoRy, upon seeing that this is a very safe build, once again coming out of Migi, he's just going to do a repeat performance. He's going to go ahead... Wait a second! Okay, I was going to say he was going to go ahead and expand, but what is this imp doing in the main with the Shroud Stone? Okay, I like this. So again, we see the same collection, Creation Chamber and the upgrade building to go along with it coming out of Migi. We have one Argent out here. Is this going to be able to deal with the Shroud Stone though? I mean, I guess, right? Judged on based on the damage it's doing there, I think it is going to be able to deal with it just fine. And like I said earlier, if Migi wants, he can just power surge his Creation Chamber there and get out a second Argent very, very quickly. So, yeah, I mean, oh, wait a minute. Wow, look at the damage that the Shroud Stones do. The Shroud Stones actually got buffed this patch, so I think they attack slower, but look how much damage they do. And oh my god, I actually underestimated this, guys. This actually might be some trouble. Like, he's going to have to micro these back a little bit here. But he's lost mining time, right? Because he's had to take the prisms off of the collection array there. So the Shroud Stone is going to go down. I wonder what would have happened there if TheoRy would have committed 2 imps to that attack. The Shroud Stones do cost more Luminite now, though. I believe they cost 100 instead of 50. So plus the imp, that's 150. So if you put 2 down there, that's 300 luminite. So that is a pretty big commitment of resources this early in the game. I guess you kind of have to, you know, hope you're going to win the game with that, really. Because that's, I mean, that's 3 extra Argents for Migi. And he didn't actually lose a single unit to that attack, so might be a slight advantage for Migi here. He is 10 supply ahead, and TheoRy's going to be doing the same thing. He's thrown down the Conclave, of course, and he's got the Ritual Chamber, and now an Iron Vault coming up in the Natural. Only the 1 worker there on Therium for TheoRy, so he is going to be looking to just get Gaunts and then spend the rest of his Luminite on Brutes, rather. So you do build the Gaunts, by the way, 2 at a time now. Getting a nice snipe on the Shroud Stone there, though. So he rolls in, I really like that play from him, rolls in with the Kree to get vision of the high ground, and then snipes with the Argents from the low ground. And as I mentioned, these Kree with the rollout ability, they do have that 50 armor when they're rolling, so you can just roll around the enemy base, get a good scout off, get some vision, and not really take much damage at all. And now he's going to go ahead and take this creep camp. So these creeps, by the way, guys, on the health camps and also on the energy camps, those are the only creeps in the game that don't give you any resources at all. They don't give you any Luminite, they don't give you any Therium, so there's actually no point taking these camps, unless, of course, you want the benefits of the healing of the health camp or the energy of the energy camp. There is no energy camp on this map, so actually not the best one for Celestials, because these Argents really, really do rely on their energy. So I think Migi might want to go a little bit heavier on the Krees in this game, maybe less of the Argents, but we'll see. Of course, those little healing flowers have changed somewhat as well. Now you just attack them and they will heal you, whereas previously you used to have to run over them. That's one of the sort of unique features of this particular map. That's something Frostgiant like to do. On each map, they're experimenting with little sort of micro features where, you know, one map will have these little healing flowers, another map will have Luminite or Therium resource pickups that you can gather with your army just by running over them. And then, of course, one of them, called Jagged Maw, one of the most famous maps in this game, has a massive artillery that you can push across the map. It's got an artillery creep camp that you can capture. So who knows, maybe we're going to see that if we go into game number 3. Well, we are going to go into game number 3 because this is best of 5. So I like this as well for Migi, just keeping that Kree on the 3rd position so we can see exactly what TheoRy's up to. He is choosing to expand. And again, that Kree with the armor buff, man, it has no trouble getting out of there. So no harm, no foul. Nothing lost there for him. Starforge now going down, so this is interesting. We might be seeing some scythes coming out of Migi. So this is now the 2nd production building that we didn't see in the last game, and with this one he can produce air units called scythes. He can also produce vectors, which are these very fast ground skirmishing type units that, well, they can blink, basically. They can teleport, and then they can recall back to their original position if you get the upgrade for them. However, in my experience, I haven't really found the vectors to be that good in early access. They seem, I don't know, man, they seem kind of bad. They seem kind of lackluster. They were better, I thought, in Frigate, so I'm not sure if we're going to see vectors out of Migi. I think it's far more likely that he's going to go for the scythes. I think he realizes that Argents and Krees are only going to do so much against TheoRy here for, you know, for a limited time. So he's going to have to go for those scythes, which are particularly powerful. So he does come in here and get a nice deny on the expansion of TheoRy. He's going to throw it straight back down again. I think he lost a couple of Kree there, but, you know, nothing too bad. Probably worth denying the expansion. Meanwhile, of course, Migi does have a 3rd expansion, but like a 3rd expansion is not necessarily the same for the Celestials as it is with an expansion with 12 imps. Comes in again and is going to deny this shrine, though. So really nice job by Migi there. Looking to take that 4th. So you're only going to get half the mining speed out of an expansion if you don't have any of those prisms on it. if you've just got the collection rays. So even though we see Migi with 3 collection rays right now, if they're not all fully saturated with prisms, it may actually be pretty similar to TheoRy's 2 base here, fully saturated with imps. Couple of Magmadons out now for TheoRy. By the way, guys, apologies if you guys can hear drilling in the background. My neighbor decided this would be the perfect time to start renovating, so there you go. Them's the breaks. We've got to live with it, I guess. So he's definitely gone a little bit more Kree heavy this game than he did with the massive Argents in the last game. What is he going to do, though, with the Starforge? We haven't seen any scythes yet. So I'm kind of intrigued. Like, why did he go for the Starforge there? There it is. Not producing anything right now. So, I don't know. Did he just get that as a maybe? You know, keep his options open sort of type thing? Oh, that was a nice pick off there by Migi. So that's one of the top bar abilities there. It actually allows you to just zap any creep camp. So that means he does have the Arc Station. He's got the tier 2 upgrade, as you can see there, by the top Arc ship. Also has a second Arc ship now. And there's another Starforge coming down, so surely he's got to be going for scythes, right? Why would you throw down another Starforge if you weren't going for any of these tier 2 units? So yeah, that top bar ability, it allows you to, like, basically evaporate any creep camp and gain the resources from it. I guess you're sort of, like, it's the old beam me up Scotty effect, isn't it? Ah, there we see the scythes. Okay, okay, I like this. So scythes, very interesting unit. You can see that ability triggering on them, which reduces their damage taken by 50% for a few seconds, and they can use that ability as long as they have the energy to do so. So right now he's got a bunch of batteries down there, keeping that scythe topped off in energy. That really is the key to them. It's to keep that energy. And another interesting mechanic that they have is that they actually do more damage the closer they are to a target. So the difference right now in the damage they will do at the range you see him attacking there, which is pretty much the maximum range, as opposed to being up right on top of the unit, it's actually about 50% difference. If you go up and you hover right above a target, you're going to be doing double damage as if you were really, really far away. So once they start to stack up a lot of these scythes here, they can be really, really dangerous. Now that being said, TheoRy does have a lot of gaunts, so he's not exactly lacking on anti-air, but those scythes can be really, really tanky with that damage reduction ability. So he's going to be keeping hold of the speed camp here, just making sure that if he has to react, he has to go between his main or his third or his natural, he's able to do that swiftly. That's always a really, really nice camp to hold there. You can see it's positioned really so that you can get and access all parts of your base very quickly. He's got these Cabals out here again. I'm not quite sure what he wants to use these for. I thought he maybe wanted to use it on the Magmadons in the last game, or possibly on the Doombringers to sort of ground them. And maybe that was the plan, but we just didn't see it come to fruition. Some Shadow Flyers, though, coming out now for TheoRy. So this is going to be his answer to the Scythes. Of course, if he can get them on there and do the damage, like their ability, the damage reduction ability, it only triggers when they take damage. So if they can just hit them with the Shadow Flyers before that ability procs, he can do way more damage and just take them out outright. But as the numbers of scythes increase here for Migi, it is going to get, I think, a little bit harder for TheoRy to defend. He is moving out now, taking that fourth. So, you know, TheoRy really showing how effective it can be as well to just take a solid position. A lot of defense for the Infernals is all about building up like a solid wall of Shroud Stones and meat farms so that when the enemy go in there and attack, they have to come on your Shroud. They've got to go through that wall of meat farms. They've got to go through that wall of Shroud Stones. It really can be especially tough. If you just have a shrine there with a bunch of workers, that's open to harassment and it's going to get sniped off relatively easy. However, there is some nice high ground here, of course. That is one of the drawbacks of this expansion, is that it is open to this high ground, which is in the middle of the map, and you're going to find on this map that both players generally vie for control of this high ground, so that is usually very susceptible for sniping from things like Hellborn or other siege units like the Atlas for the Vanguard. There isn't really any siege unit here out though. For Migi, we don't have any sabers on the field. Again, the saber, I think it's a unit that seems a little bit underpowered, but now we have Migi coming in, and just look at the power of these scythes. You know, I don't think he realizes that the scythes actually maybe do more damage when they're on top of the target, because I feel like he's missing a trick there by firing with them at maximum range. Especially if you've already popped your damage reduction thingy there, right? Like, you may as well be doing the maximum damage you can and killing stuff ASAP. So we do see some Krees moving into position here on the west side. They are now moving into the natural as the Scythes come in and put some pressure on this fourth base. Here we see the Sabers out. So he is going to be doing that exactly. He's going to be sieging this position from the high ground. Really nice move here. I've always felt like the Sabers are probably the weakest siege unit in the game, really, for the Celestials. But in this specific position, they're paying dividends. So some of these Kree are still in the main. TheoRy really needs to go and deal with them. It looks like he managed to mostly... Oh my god, he's not even realized that it's still in the main. There's just too many attacks going off here in the third and the second and the fourth. Oh man, he's going to lose all of those imps in the main. Now he realizes I can see a stream of red going into the main, but he's pretty much lost all of his imps there. Of course, one of the nice things about the Infernals is with the charge system, you're just going to be able to replenish those imps almost instantaneously when you've got 4 shrines. I'm not sure what is going on with the work account above the Luminite mines, by the way. I think they're bugged out in the Observer here. But Migi right now is 70 supply ahead of TheoRy. In fact, this is probably one of the highest supply games I've seen in a while. He might even hit max supply of 300. Nicely for the Celestials, they don't actually have to worry about supply. They don't have any kind of food building where, you know, like the habitat or the meat farms, they can just build whatever they want, however much they want, and instead they have the power resource that they have to worry about. So this mid-game composition here, or I suppose this is really late game now, is looking much stronger for Migi. We've got the Scythes, we've got the Sabers in there that are going to be threatening siege damage, so he's able to do a lot more with this. TheoRy is going to go and deny that collection array. I'm not sure why he was trying to float a collection array to TheoRy's side of the map, because I don't think he has one at the bottom right. In fact, I think one's floating in there just right now. That's probably a Morph Core that's looking to build a collection array in the bottom right. But Migi's busy in the middle of the map at the moment, so he's not done it yet. Man, this position here is just way too strong for Migi, I think. Like, he's almost just threatening. He's just saying, hey, I'm just going to stay here on this high ground. I'm going to stop you from mining for this expansion. He's not going to overcommit, though, and just go straight down into the low ground. He says, hey, TheoRy, if you want to come and get me, dude. I'm up on the high ground. But he has just such a powerful position with those Sabers in the backline sniping there that I don't think TheoRy can push this. Both of the Arc ships are there as well. And let's remember, guys, one of those Arc ships is now fully upgraded. And when it's fully upgraded, it actually gets an ability where it can channel, and it does 1500 damage. It's like this massive laser beam, so you can just snipe an enemy shrine. So the Flayed Dragon is now coming out for TheoRy, some tier 3 units. Down comes the God Ray, amping up the energy regeneration on the Argents. They're making sure they are using that more powerful attack. And, man, those Sabers... You know what, guys? Maybe I take it back. I did say that Sabers were kind of the worst siege unit in the game, but they actually seem to be doing pretty decent work. The only drawback to them is that they have incredibly slow movement speed, and then they get 2 abilities. So you can increase their movement speed, but it's going to cost you health. And then they have a repair ability that repairs their health up. So they need much more micro, I would say, than, for example, a Hellborn. And speaking of Hellborn, we do have a couple in the army for TheoRy here as well. I think he realizes he needs a bit of anti-siege himself, but 2 Hellborn is not going to be enough. Massive breath there from the Flayed Dragon comes down, and if he can start to get some Fiends out, that is going to be instrumental, because for every single Fiend that comes out with a Flayed Dragon, it's not going to be 1 Fiend, but 2 Fiends, and actually he starts to overrun this position. Is TheoRy going to do this here? Oh my god, man. He might actually be okay. He's getting up to the Sabres. All the Sabres are now going down. And I think he might actually be okay. Like, right there, you can see just how powerful the Flayed Dragon is. Without that Flayed Dragon, there is just no way that he would have been able to snowball that. And Migi actually GG's out of this game. Wow. I'm in shock, guys. I really did not expect TheoRy to win that one, showing there the insane power of the Flayed Dragon. So GG, TheoRy is going to go up 2-0, and we are going to be moving on to game number 3. Alrighty, guys, welcome to game number 3 here. TheoRy, of course, up 2-0, and this one is going to be on Boneyard. So once again, a larger map. You know, it's kind of a shame, I think, almost that this is Boneyard, because I was wondering, like, is TheoRy, since he's up 2-0 and this is a best of 5, maybe he's going to do something a bit more cheesy. You know, we don't often see too much cheese out of TheoRy. I feel he's a pretty solid, like, macro player. He waits till later in the game or the mid game. He gets some really nice kind of timing push going. But what is coming through the middle of the map here? I think it's just the Hexen. It's not an imp, right, or anything, though. It's got to be the Hexen. But no, it looks like he's going to be going pretty standard here, putting that single imp on the Therium so he can get enough out for his gaunts. And Migi, once again, taking his collection array. Migi, on the other hand, I suppose he can't really afford to do anything too rash here, right? He's 2-0 down, so you probably don't want to be just like going for some crazy cheesy play like we saw Parting do in the last game. Guys, if you are enjoying the cast here on the channel, don't forget to hit up that subscribe button, by the way. I will be covering, hopefully, the rest of this competition here, and there's going to be plenty more casts to come in the future, as well as guides on the channel here for Stormgate build orders, and plenty of Stormgate news. And as a little reminder, on the 15th of August, I am going to be casting a show match between TheoRy and Parting, so super stoked for that one. It's going to be a best of 7. And I'm really, really happy with it, actually, because originally I thought it was going to be, you know, an Infernals versus Infernals, but now that Parting has actually switched to playing Celestials, it's going to be an Infernal versus Celestials, just like this game here. So, the Fiends here, getting work done, actually, on these collection array. He came in here, and finally, it gets put down by the Argent, but just look at the damage there on that collection array on the natural. It's almost at 50% HP. Exactly the same build coming out of Migi, the double creation chamber and the upgrade building. I think it's called the Ascension Matrix. Either that one is called the Ascension Matrix, or the more advanced one is called that. I believe it's Ascension Matrix, though. But don't hold me to it, guys. Ritual Chamber for TheoRy again. That's a nice play there. He's actually going to pull the creeps from the health camp and use Sovereign's Wrath on his building here to take them out. And once again, you aren't going to get any Luminite from these creeps. But he does get the health camp, which is in a very nice position on this map, admittedly. There are also energy camps on this map, so you guys can see right at the top of the map and at the bottom, they almost look like, I don't know, little like phone receivers or something. Those are the energy camps, and there's one fairly close to each base, or to each player, I should say. And so taking those as the Celestial can be a big move. So, oh, okay, interestingly, TheoRy is going to go in there, and he's going to take this camp, so I don't know if he realizes that you don't get any resources for them. Like, if you look at the resources that, as he took that camp, TheoRy's resources didn't change at all. And he doesn't, I mean, he gets energy for the Hexen, I guess. Maybe he wants it for that. I don't know. This kind of came as a surprise because in Frigate, you got resources from all of the creeps. But I just happened to be testing this the other day because I was doing a video on economy. And to my surprise, I found that you didn't get any resources from those creeps. So I'm not sure if that's intended. Maybe it's a bug. But in any case, not really sure why TheoRy went and took that one there. I don't know who keeps doing that. One of the players keeps accidentally pinging the map. Which, like, I don't know if the other player can see that. So that's kind of embarrassing if you're trying to move your unit somewhere on the map. I think you hold Alt to ping stuff, right? So you hold Alt and then you accidentally, like, show your opponent where you're moving. Like, oh, oops, yeah, I'm totally not going there, man. Totally not moving to take that expansion. Just forget I did that. Well, who knows? Maybe they can't actually see that. So Migi is going to be taking over that observation tower. The vision tower. TheoRy's coming out with a third here. I really wish we had, you know, an in-game timer for the when you're observing. You can only see it in replays, unfortunately, or when you're live playing from first person. But Migi is going to be just banging down the front door here with his Kree. And I guess he forces the Canceller on the Iron Vault. And he's also found the third, so all of a sudden, I really like this early aggression coming in from Migi. I really think he should capitalize on this. He should get some more Krees out. And in fact, maybe if he'd had all of the Krees in the main, or in the natural here, I think he could have killed all of these Gaunts. However, I don't think he has quite enough there. More Gaunts are coming out. He does force the Canceller on the third, so that is pretty big. Gets the Imp there as well. And TheoRy's gonna have to lick his wounds here. So once again, Migi is slightly ahead on supply, but, you know, it goes to show, man, you can never count TheoRy out. Like, the last game, all game long, Migi had just such a huge supply lead, and then somehow, some way, TheoRy just comes out of it with the Flayed Dragon from nowhere, goes up on the high ground, and just decimates his army. Absolutely insane. So the Arc Station is coming up here. Oh, sorry, not the Arc Station. That was the upgraded shrine. The Greater Shrine, I should say, is coming up for TheoRy. He's going to try and deny this Iron Vault again, being an absolute pest. I really like this play. It's really exploiting the weaknesses of the Infernals, because some of the benefits the Infernals get is that they have a charge system on their buildings, so they can save up charges for units, and then they can just pump out a bunch of whatever units they need in the heat of the moment to defend with. However, when it comes to buildings, they don't really have any way, like, say, the Vanguard do, to speed up construction speed. So whenever they throw down and want to increase their infrastructure, you know, you just have to wait for the building time. There's no quick way to get around it, and denying that Iron Vault twice has got to be annoying for TheoRy. So we just saw the upgrade there kicking in for the Argents. And there's the Reaper's Rush. Wow. Already coming up for TheoRy here. So he's on tier 3, and he is mining so much Therium right now. So the first upgrade for the Gaunts is, of course, the Infest upgrade, the Plague Axe. The second one, Reaper's Rush, increases the Gaunts' movement speed by 40%. So that is going to be really, really huge, especially if you're microing against the Argents. However, the Argents also have that first upgrade, which increases their movement speed by 13%. So not nearly as good as the Reaper's Rush, but it also gives them somewhat of a passive energy regeneration buff, so that they don't have to seek out power banks or, you know, or energy camps to regen there. I don't think these Krees are enough. He's going to have to retreat from this. There's way too many Gaunts here, especially with those upgrades. I don't think Reaper's Rush is quite done yet, but it will be very soon. So TheoRy, I've just noticed, by the way, he's also taken the energy camp on the bottom of the map. And that is surely not so that he can use it. He just wants the energy camps so that he knows if Migi's gone for the energy camps, because he wants to keep those Argents as drained of energy as he possibly can. That's why he took the top camp. He wanted to make sure that Migi wasn't going to go and take it so that he could abuse it and use it to his advantage against TheoRy. That is super, super smart play. TheoRy knows exactly how to take down the Celestials. Again, you know, Migi, he's doing well here, but I'm not sure how many games he's played. I'm not sure how many betas or alpha tests he's taken part in. But, he's certainly no slouch either. As we ping TheoRy's base again. So we've got a Twilight Spire, another Conclave, and an Iron Vault coming down there. A little bit more infrastructure coming down for TheoRy. The Twilight Spire, of course, will allow him to get out the drop unit for the Infernals. The Doombringer. Oh, sorry, the Harbinger. They keep changing the name of it, man. Why do you have to do it to us cast as Frost Giant? And now we see a couple of Legion Halls going down. So, what is going to be coming out of the Legion Halls? Most likely Animancers, I would say. I think he went for those. Was it in the first game you got Animancers? Very powerful units, especially if you get a last upgrade for them. I believe they have an ability called Dark Prophecy. Massive Black Hole. Big AoE damage. Very, very good against small units like Gaunts. So maybe we're going to see some big tier 3 stuff coming out of Migi here. I do like this. Just using the Shadow Flare to cap towers. Really, really smart play again. Making sure that he monopolizes as many of these towers as possible. I gotta say, I'm not sure I agree that flying units should be able to cap creep camp towers. I feel like it's a little bit too easy, especially if you're a race like the Infernals and you can just pump out 2 Shadow Flyers for like 50 50 Therium and 25... Sorry, 50 Luminite and 25 Therium, I believe. You get 2 of them now. So that's had to force, like there you can see, right? It's forced like a good chunk of the army to walk all the way over to that Luminite tower just to take it back again. That's got to be annoying. So there's going to be Scythes coming out of Migi here once again. I guess he's got some Starforges up. And what is this? What are all these Morph Cores doing over there? I guess, I don't know, man. I guess Migi's just been pumping out Morph Cores to get expansions. Or is he planning to build a bunch of buildings there with them? And sort of defend that particular position? So the Kree Gunner coming in here. That's a pretty beefy creep camp there, though. It's a level 3. And this guy is well tanky. In fact, I'm not sure it's going to go down. There's also a couple of vectors mixed in there. I'm not sure he meant to get vectors. Oh, he's actually gotten the siege camp here. I didn't realize there was a siege camp on this map now, guys. That's actually news to me. Ooh, that is interesting. So the siege camp is going to go completely the opposite direction from Migi's army? Wait a minute. Does Migi even realize that was a siege camp either? Or was he just getting it because it's a camp? Because obviously that thing, undefended by itself, is not going to do anything. The V5 rocket launcher. This used to be a catapult back in the day, in the good old days when the alpha test was very new. Yeah, I don't think Migi even knows that what this does, because, like, look at the damage this thing can do. This is one of the best siege units in the game, but of course by itself it's just going to get picked off, so that's a shame there. I feel like Migi maybe could have had a nice little push with that one. And in fact, you guys can see the expansion further south there for TheoRy. If he would have had the high ground vision there when that artillery went past, I think it would have been able to snipe up there from the low ground. So Sundering Soul Craze is now coming in for the Brutes. So guys, the Fiends, they have seen an overall nerf in early access here from Frigga. However, there are a couple of new upgrades. And what these upgrades do is whenever you split your Brutes and you gain Fiends in that manner, so not the Fiends that you get from infesting, but only the ones you get from splitting the Brutes, one of the upgrades gives them faster movement speed for 10 seconds, and the other upgrade, Sundering Soul Craze, that we just saw being researched there, is actually going to give them 50% faster attack speed for 10 seconds. So kind of like Cracklings from StarCraft Brood War, where they get the adrenal glands and they just go and absolutely, you know, destroy buildings I'm sure you guys, anybody who's played Brew War, you're familiar with that, just seeing a bunch of cracklings destroying an enemy base. That's pretty much what the Fiends are going to be like. And there we can see he drops down the Brutes, and just look how quickly they're attacking now. Look how quickly they're sniping this base. Oh my god, dude. They almost got the collection array there, but nice lift off from Migi. Almost keep calling Migi Ziggy. So good defense, but you guys can see how powerful those are. That's actually a really nice idea. Put the Brutes in the Harbinger, drop them, split them once you're on that position, because remember, that buff only lasts for 10 seconds, so you really do have to be pretty quick. I believe you can fit 4 Brutes in a Harbinger, so that's going to do 8 Fiends for you. And he's sending in a couple of Spriggans here. He really wants to finish off this collection array. He probably thought it was still floating. And we've got some Hellborn here. This is not Game of Thrones. Some Hellborn here on the top ground, on the high ground. But the Dark Prophecy is coming out for Migi as well. So that's the ability I was talking about on the Allimancers here. Again, you know, Migi's army is pretty varied. He's gotten a lot of these tier 3 units in there. So there's going to be a big showdown sooner or later. This game is very, very similar to game number 2. Both of these players, of course, favoring this macro play. Very even right now. I mean, if you look at the supplies, we're pretty much dead even. I think TheoRy has a slight advantage in terms of bases. Migi seems to be favoring getting collection arrays rather than prisms. There are a few prisms, you know, boosting some Luminite mines and mining from them here and there, but it's not like he has all of them saturated with 4 out of 4 prisms, which is the maximum. Whereas TheoRy's bases are sure to be all saturated. Okay, that one there is actually fully saturated, so this is going to be a really nice pack, a really nice pick rather. Gets the Fiends there from the Brutes again with the fast attack speed, so that is, I think, going to completely shut down that base. But Migi is going to answer this by trying to snipe off a base of his own. And now there's a big battle going down in the middle. A Weaver coming up in the front there. Going to be trying to last some of those important units in, but the Weaver goes down. And there are a lot of power banks here for Migi, so he is going to be recharging. You can see denoted by those purple lines, constantly recharging the enemy on all of Migi's units. And TheoRy's actually not got that much left here, although, you know, supply-wise he is ahead, but there comes that famed Flayed Dragon. Is this going to go the same way as game number 2? Are we just going to see the big breath on the army? A bunch of Fiends come out. There comes the breath. As soon as these start to go down and the Fiends come out, oh, and Hellborn on the high ground there, sniping away. This could really start to snowball very quickly, and I think it's already started to happen. The Dark Prophecy is really, really strong there. Just look at how much damage that does. And oh my god, Migi, I may actually be able to hold on. You also notice that Dark Prophecy, it will damage your own units, guys. So beware of that. Like, TheoRy's poking in again here with a Flayed Dragon, but I don't know, is that a wise decision when you really don't have any army units left? Oh, there are some Hellborn still there, but like they're not going to go and poke in there. So Migi this time actually managing to hold on. I think the Dark Prophecy maybe swung him that battle there in his favor. And the supplies once again have equaled out here. So this is probably one of the most even games I've casted in a long time. So another Starforge coming down there for Migi. I think what he's looking to do is maybe capitalize on getting out a lot more of these scythes. He really needs to get that Flayed Dragon. He must realize that that is like the big power unit of TheoRy's army right now. That's what lost him last game. So he needs to find a way to snipe that. And one such way of doing so is getting a bunch of scythes and then just jumping on top of it. I think you want to use the scythes similar to the way that you use Mutalisks. Kind of get really, you know, if you guys are familiar with Mutalisks from StarCraft, you want to get directly on top of the unit and then just fly away. So I like this, though, using the Flayed Dragon here for the vision. And oh my god, that collection rate just goes down so fast. And all of the prisms are going to go down as well. The scythes are coming in there, but I think he only has 2. Does he have enough energy on the Animancer for a Dark Prophecy? I'm not sure what does that hand even mean. That's kind of funny. The Flayed Dragon is going to get another... Oh, okay. It's not going to get a breath off there. Does spawn a Fiend or 2, though. But TheoRy's doing a really good job of keeping that Flayed Dragon alive. They aren't the most... Don't get me wrong, they have a fair few hit points. But they're not the most tanky of units. If you get caught out of position and that Flayed Dragon goes down... You know, it's not going to take too much time at all. But it's been alive for a long time, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second dragon out of TheoRy. Sorry, I'm just like, what is happening here on the map? Maybe, is it the Observer? Is he maybe doing this? I don't know, guys. I've just never seen all of these symbols in game before. Like, I know there's a GG one that you can throw down on the ground, and there's the exclamation one. I didn't know there was the little evacuation man and the green hand and all of this stuff, though. I'm going to have to learn how to use these. I've got to up my emote game. So Migi's really trying to cement this forward position here, throwing down some link nodes now that he's probably going to turn into spark nodes. In fact, those ones that are glowing there, those actually do pretty devastating AoE damage that will really, you know, do some work on these gaunts. He's also getting the sabers out again, just like he did last game. I like this harassment, but again, Migi, put them on top of the imps. For the love of God, he could be killing these imps so much faster if he put them directly on top there. And he's actually taken... Wait, so he's used the scythes here to take the artillery camp, and now he's backing it up as well with the scythes. Oh, the flame imps come in there! Absolutely devastating Migi's base. So they're both sort of holding in the middle of the map here. Neither one wants to fully commit. I think they're each trying to force each other into saying, okay, you know what, I've got to go right now. I've got to go and try and take an advantage in this game because I've lost an expansion. But both players losing an expansion. So things are still pretty even. If we look at this supply, guys, it's almost exactly the same. TheoRy just slightly pulling ahead as he queues up a few units to produce. And of course, the Infernals, they instantly produce their units if they have the charges to do so. The Sabres are moving forward, but they're pretty low on energy, or on health rather, so he's got to be careful. He could easily get sniped by the Hellborn here. Like, you can just see how painfully slow they move. And if you want to use that movement buff effect, it is going to cost you, I think it's like 100 health. So if you spam it a lot, you're going to drain your health really, really quickly and have to use a repair ability, which will make you immovable, right? As soon as you move, once you're using that repair, it's going to cancel the repair, and the repair is going to be on cooldown. So there's always this constant, you know, flux of, do I use the movement ability to micro or get out of dodge or get towards my army, or do I want to use that repair to repair myself up and be a little bit vulnerable? Second Flayed Dragon is now out for TheoRy. So this is, I mean, with a double Flayed Dragon breath there, this could be the engagement, man. But again, he doesn't really have too much. That artillery, how is it? He could just make a couple of Spriggans right now from that Twilight Spire and kill that artillery, but I don't think TheoRy realizes what's going on. He's too preoccupied in the middle of the map. Dark Prophecy did go down there, I think. No, maybe not. It was just a unit dying. It was just a building dying. It kind of looks like a black hole there. But TheoRy is going to come in here, and he's just breathing on the entire army of Migi. All the units up north there are infested, but they're just not going down. And right now, we kind of got a similar situation to the engagements we saw before. TheoRy has his Flayed Dragons alive, but not really much else. He does have a few gaunts poking in here, and now what is this? More gaunts and fiends coming in from the Harbingers, no less. Throwing down the Shroud with the Harbingers as well. I do like that. Very important to stay on the Shroud so that you have your white health regenerating there. Sovereign's Wrath coming down here as well for Migi. Absolutely everything being thrown down for both players, but these fiends, man, there's so many fiends coming out here. And I think TheoRy has just about done it, man. He's overrun Migi's position here, and Migi calls GG. So well done, TheoRy. Got to take this series 3-0, but Migi definitely putting up an incredible fight there. Guys, once again, if you enjoyed this cast here on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Plenty more casts to come here in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.